Hey everyone, it's Thyworm with a roundup. Enjoying this? Consider subscribing. Torchlight 3 released their last big update, and that is both good and bad news. The last update was an overhaul of the relic system, which now is basically part of your character creation. You pick your relic at the start and you can't change it anymore, and it levels along with your character. So why good and bad? Well, the good news is that this change does make several game elements come together in a bit more of a streamlined fashion, because everything is clear from the start. You can sort of plan out your build. There are more options available to pick from, so you could actually argue that builds are a possibility right now. And while playing, you can definitely feel the relic system ties in quite nicely with character progression, although I felt the lack of available skill points has become an issue, because the old relic points are gone and you didn't get any new additional points, although the latest patch did give you 5 of them. And now you have to level both your relic and your skill, so that's kind of an issue. You're basically weaker than before this patch, which is noticeable. The bad news is that this is the big final patch and that Torchlight 3 will most likely ship like this. The state of the game number 9 mentions this as well, while the state of the game number 10 addresses some community concerns, but it is simply not enough. The only thing standing between a release and the current state is a list of bugs. It looks like the devs basically want to get this over with, just release the product and then leave this whole episode behind them, which unfortunately may be the best decision. While Torchlight 3 definitely feels a little better than 2 months ago, that is really all the positives I'm gaining from this, because the game is still not good by any stretch of the imagination. It is not a worthy successor of Torchlight 2, it is not a valuable addition to the Torchlight franchise, it is just really a mediocre game that lacks depth, soul and endgame content. I thought Vizier was just the start of the revamped endgame, but this is apparently it. It's lackluster, it's just not good, you should probably stay away from this one. Dreamscaper released into early access, and it is a freaking amazing game, this one. Challenging gameplay, truly excellent storytelling, beautiful visuals, an original soundtrack, the whole thing is just so well made, with so much passion and skill, it is hard to describe honestly. $15 as well, that's a bargain, and there's already plenty of content and the whole thing runs like a charm. KillSquad released a dev diary, but contrary to previous dev diaries, this one is a little messy. They basically wrote a bit of text, but honestly only a few lines, where they state the game has a bunch of UI overhauls, checkpoints, a new reward screen and new difficulty settings, plus some graphical overhauls in the Unreal Engine. And while this is fine, the videos that accompany this video are just raw gameplay videos without any commentary or explanation, which makes this whole thing just a little less enticing to sit through, and picking up on the new elements without someone pointing out what you're actually supposed to look at is just not so easy. I would rather see these videos edited with voiceovers or just a game director explaining what is new, like in the previous devlogs. That was a lot more insightful than this. Purge, a small indie game that went into early access not too long ago, released a roadmap. It is not the most inspiring roadmap, however, to be honest. It contains 5 phases, which last until the end of 2021, but it mostly says the same thing over and over again in each phase. Overall, we're getting a campaign, more holo chamber biomes, new weapons, new enemies, a station hub, and a few question marks at the end. One thing is clear to me, content is sorely needed for this game. It is one of those games that released very early in early access, which resulted in a game where there's currently simply not a lot to do. I am also of the opinion that the game is overpriced with €21. That is honestly kind of ridiculous if you look at the state of the game and the content available and the competition. KillSquad, Curse of the Dead Gods, Dreamscaper, all those games are somewhat in the same genre. More polished, however, contain more content, and they're all cheaper too. I think they should cut the price by 50% until there's more content. Pagan Online had to shut down their servers and went single player, changed the name to Pagan Absent Gods, and game director Uros announced at the same time that they're not developing this game any further. I made a last tribute video to Pagan explaining everything that had happened in the game and why it wasn't successful in the end, so go check that out. Finally, Sanctum Breach had a successful Kickstarter and secured the funds to continue development and buy several assets for the game. Shortly after, the beta was postponed and pre-beta is launched instead on September 1st. Single developer Sam Keats wants to add the Warbringer class, add class mastery skill trees, and add a utility tree to the passive tree next to polishing and content balancing. Estimated time for this phase is about 3 months, but no hard commitment has been given. And that's all I have for you in this small roundup. Once I gathered enough to fill a new one, I will return. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all. Love you all. Bye bye.